Okay.
On her way, she was working, she might be late, but should proceed.
Okay. All right, so I sent out everything. The first item, or the first thing that I sent out were the requested budget items. So these are each year, the different departments send me a list of things that they need for projects and things that we typically take care of. So I put those all kind of in order by the different departments so that you guys can see. This helps me when I'm doing several other of these parts, but this is kind of one of the first things that I do when I'm getting numbers together for the budget. So any questions about any of the budget items by any of the departments?
All right, so I've highlighted different things. I talked to Nate earlier today about some of the concerns I had, but so on the first page, general park, tree removal on Bank at Clay Street Park. You explained to me, I thought it was the tree that had just fallen,
No.
but you explained,
Yeah, we're looking at the entire hillside on the south side of the park, above like the gas company's little building. We just had another limb come down on the neighbors
oh boy,
below it,
okay.
I don't know, over the weekend maybe, or last week.
I heard chainsaw and I think that might explain.
Yeah. So we actually, Pat and I just met with Willis from Hirschberger Tree this afternoon.
Okay.
He's working up estimates on everything.
So then I questioned $10,000 more to upkeep at the Veterans Memorial. And I have a question about that. So I think it's lovely that these organizations come in and put up disc golf and pet playtime for pets and all the stuff, but then we end up then having to maintain it. And I don't know what, you know, I just, right now, the Veterans Memorial, I didn't see how much, I drove up by that way, so I couldn't tell exactly how much needed maintained. My understanding is it's being done for free. But it's a Veterans Memorial, so why couldn't, you've got the Legion, you've got VFW, you've got, could people rotate volunteering Boy Scouts, I don't care, to help take care of that place?
Agreed. We've had a lot of these conversations.
You know, and I'm always afraid to be the one,
The improvement.
because then I'm the mean, you know,
The
we're
real-
1.8, you know, this is a wish list, but you know, there's a lot. And I
Yeah.
think we need to start cutting away at some, there's some things we need to start going at.
We all know there's been a lot of improvements at the
Mhm.
parks. Those all come with a price tag
Yeah.
for the maintenance.
Yeah,
And I don't want to speak out of line, but unfortunately, that falls back on council
mhm,
to look at that when they come in and say, I would like to build this, or I would like to donate this.
mhm.
There's always a cost with that as far as the maintenance, the ongoing maintenance. You know, a pavilion's nice, but that pavilion needs
I
stained.
question that.
It needs stained, it needs a roof in 20 years or whatever, but you're taking on that responsibility when you say yes. So my only caution, and I'm just a worker, is think about it a little bit more before you just say yes. And I'm not trying to step on anybody's
No.
toes, I'm trying to be straight shooter. with you.
As council member, I don't know the demands put on. I worry about when people ask if you guys can take something on, and if you're at a meeting when something's asked of you to take on, and yeah, we'll take that on, we'll take that on, we'll take that on, but do I really know if you want to take that on? I'm not gonna, since I've been on council 2.5 years, I don't think I was a part of anything being approved up there except for that pavilion that they're wanting to. I think the Veterans Memorial started before I got on council.
Yeah, I think most everything would have been.
So,
there.
You know, I just think we need to, you know, part of me looked at all this and thought, well, if I nitpick at starting at stuff, it's, you know, there's a wish list over budget of 1.8 million, and I don't know where, we gotta start. Because 10 years down the road, Andrea Kellogg was a part of voting for some of this stuff. So I don't know, but I don't see why they're starting with that. I don't see why that could, if organizations wouldn't be willing to donate, whether rotate months or when, I mean, it's only gonna, how many months out of the year do they have to, what is there, mowing? I drove by there, is there just some mowing? Is there flowers planted?
There's flowers and landscaping done.
So I have a proposal.
Okay.
I asked for just kind of a preliminary quote from the same people that have us this year from Roots. So here are the things that they listed to take care of that. Weekly professional mowing, trimming, and blowing off during the growing season. Weekly weed control, bed maintenance on all beds at the memorial. A spring cleanup and edging to be done. Midsummer pruning and bed cleanouts. Fall cleanups and pruning after the growing season. And full growing season care on plants and flowers, fertilizer, and watering if necessary during the summer heat. So that's just so you, and I can pass that.
Is that what you guys are doing right now?
Well, not really. They have a guy that's doing it,
Yeah.
and one of our employees is also doing it. But eventually, you know, and here's the problem. If someone just quits doing it, isn't that going to reflect on the village of Millersburg
Yeah.
more than the groups that donated, the groups that build it? It's not going to reflect on them. Someone comes and sees it
You're right.
looking cruddy, they're going to point the finger at the village of Millersburg. They're not going to point the finger at the group that,
Who was the
Build
group
it.
that wanted it?
well, yeah.
There was
yeah,
a donate, I mean, there was a
There
lot
was.
of, I feel like it was a whole community, but,
But I mean, that may be a discussion for you guys in council or whoever to decide if we want to, I don't even know how you would go about it. Put it out there and ask those
Yeah.
organizations.
But I think it
This
would
year,
take some,
can you
am I
pay-
wrong to think it would take some scheduling? I hate micromanaging things. But in order to keep it looking presentable and like, you know, a good reflection on the village, I think you would want to, yes, get those volunteers and figure that all out. But also it would take some organization to be able to keep those groups coordinated and make sure it gets done so that it doesn't start looking shabby, to kind of go along with what you said.
Yeah. I honestly don't know.
the price of it's just gonna go up. It ain't gonna
Correct.
stay, I mean,
Correct.
it'll be at that, and then it'll be $15,000 another year down the road, and it'll be, I mean, it's just gonna be a cost that'll continue to go up.
Yeah.
They ain't gonna stay at whatever. I just, there has to be, that's all the way we've done it, and there has to be other ways to do things economically.
There's nothing wrong with us asking if somebody wants to use some of the property to come up with a plan, long-term plan.
Yes.
And you present to us
Yes.
the plan.
I mean, I'll volunteer I'll go weed one time, I'm willing to sign it doesn't have to just be retired. It can be, if this community really cares about there can be a list and people can, I agree that there's gonna be, who's gonna make sure they do it. I mean, I've been called boss before, but you know, if we care about that memorial, then there shouldn't be any problem with people keeping their word that they're gonna show up. And I'll sign up, I'll weed. So I think it ought to be addressed out there to the community. I mean, you can't talk out of two sides of your mouth and promote something, but then when it comes time to help, you then say, well, I don't have time, or I didn't sign up for that, or I think the village ought to pay for it. Okay, that's their tax dollars, so, I mean, if they're fine with,
So do you think that between now and time to kind of solidify these numbers at appropriation time, so we have a few months in between, that we could look at that and see who we could rally. It's kind of hard to rally people this year for work that needs done next year, and
Well, I'm
I
assuming right
know-
now is it being done, it would be bid for roots for next year.
yeah, so this was kind of a.
Right, so it would really be for,
Yes,
we have some
yes.
time.
But that's what I'm saying, so
Yeah.
if we kind of put some feelers out and
Yeah.
see what we can get, then this could be an expense, that when it comes time for appropriations,
And we don't wait.
yeah.
I'd like to ask the vets, even the ones, it's their memorial too, to a certain
Yeah,
extent,
I
you
mean, the
know?
ones that are capable.
The capable, yeah,
Okay.
capable, no, capable ones, yeah.
The Veterans Association or Veterans,
Well, just,
any other organization.
Anybody
Well, like
local-
the,
anybody
yeah, you've got
local,
the Legion,
yeah.
you've got the,
Yeah.
Eagles are
and
patriotic.
who's capable,
Yeah.
not,
The VFW, you've got,
And I know the Boy Scouts are,
Boy-
Boy
Absolutely.
Scouts are always looking for projects, some youth groups are
Absolutely.
looking for projects,
Yeah.
so.
you just
We
need somebody to
could
schedule
rally
and
the
coordinate
troops
and make sure it's
see.
doing right.
Yeah.
somebody would have to take the realm and say, I'm willing to, where they schedule, where they sign up, how they.
That's gonna be key, is having somebody kind of at the head of that to keep it organized and see what
Here's-
we end up with.
And here's how I'll say it. These are the people's tax dollars.
Mhm.
So they expect us to be frugal and to find every way we can to save. So I guess if people don't, then I guess we'll have to shell out the 15, 10,000, whatever it is. If 1 year goes by and it fell through, then I guess we're paying somebody. And nobody can say we don't try to.
Get the community. involved.
Yeah, you
Absolutely.
have two options.
Makes sense. So are we thinking we leave it in here for now, not change a thing with that? See what we can kind of gather and organize over the next
Yeah.
few months. And I think at the council meeting, one topic for council then, when we come to them, next time, is to designate a person to kind of head that up and see, it doesn't have to be forever, but at least head it up for this year and see what kind of feedback we can get from these different groups and individuals as far as volunteering. Does that sound fair?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just marking some stuff down, put little stars beside things that we discuss, that we kind of wrap up a discussion, and then we can take those items back and report to council about that. So if there's anything specific you guys want to add to these starred comments, just let me know. I want to make sure you guys obviously have the say, so.
And I, with being new, and probably Andy say the same thing, we're going on you guys' guidance, so. But I agree with Andrew, I was looking at this, and 1.7 is a lot of money, you can't do that too many years in a row.
Then the backhoe, which is a big one. But I've always trusted, I mean, I personally have gone down to the garage to look at vehicles, just to, so you tell me the status of the backhoe situation.
Well, it's a 2001,
Yeah, I saw that,
so,
so.
I mean, it's tired.
Okay.
We've put a lot of money into just maintaining it,
Okay,
and as of right now, it does still need some things, they're not things that's gonna hinder it from doing what, but leaks, things like that,
okay.
you know. Yeah, they can be fixed, but I guess also how long do we want to keep? I guess, okay, if it's not gonna happen, then we need to up our budget to get it going through. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
And get it brought back up to 100%.
Start tearing it apart to fix one thing. and
Well,
cause
that's
others.
because
Yeah. Chain reaction.
When it's solved, its entire life load is solved. Now we have a wheel loader for that, but that works on it too.
and this is just my third year, but like each department, and sometimes this is hard for me to, it's kind of a wish list, and we're not for sure about things, but, and I'd have to probably go back to other financials, but how much each department's asked, what they've asked for. Is it clear in,
Is it on this thing?
so the last page, right, okay.
Oh,
So
Wait.
like the water
It's on this one
department,
right here,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
From last year, what they asked to
Yeah.
use,
oh, you want like last year's budget items? I'm sorry. I
not
was
the
on-
actual list, but She wanted to know.
I have that, or do I?
Tell
Oh,
me-
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sorry,
the last
Andrea,
page.
what-
This, is this what you're looking?
Well, that's the itemized one, but did you want just roughly
No, I have that, the draft.
the draft?
Yeah, it goes by department.
That one goes by fund.
Fun.
So within funds, there's different departments.
Okay.
So, probably the best breakdown, if you wanna see line by line, is that line item one that I sent to you guys. Cause it shows, and it has our regular expenses, just regular operating expenses for each department. And it also has, the budget
Yeah.
items listed out, kind of over in the notes area. So that you can kind of see.
So I guess
It's
I
not
have
as a glance
yeah,
as this
yeah, it's
first
not a
form
glance.
is, but
Yeah.
it's, yeah. But everything that's on this form that's not, crossed out is
Part of
in,
what-
is in
Not
that
missing.
itemized, like the
Yeah.
line item form, if that makes sense.
No, I would say with the backhoe, I'd consider that being a critical piece of equipment for both
I've-
water and
I've
sewer,
always
digging a
trusted-
hole in the middle of the night, you gotta go down 20 feet, the mini's not gonna do it. Or if you get a water plug, you got liability, if somebody like brush coming down a ravine, you can dig it in, dip it out, rather than sending somebody down there. Or an undersized piece of equipment.
And a new hoe will last you, I'm guessing, a long time, so 20,
Oh, yeah.
2001.
I mean, I would say 20, 25 years. I'll put it on the lines with the dump truck, would be my, they're built heavier to be able to repair them and make them last longer. Unfortunately, cars and trucks aren't built like that anymore, but at least the heavier stuff, the heavier equipment is still built that way.
We also don't wanna get hit with 5 or 6 different major pieces of equipment at one time if you're not rotating
That's true.
replacement stuff.
I think it bears saying that we always estimate expenses at the upper end, the revenue at
Mhm.
the lower end.
Mhm.
And if you look at the actual numbers,
Comes in a new
Yeah.
list.
And I put that on, so on your budget summary, if you look at this, I did some comparison numbers under this section over here. I know it's a little bit backward, but this is actually where I start when I start looking at budget, is I calculate revenue and expenses for the rest of 2026. So still looking at your crystal ball a little bit, but it's easier to determine that right now, halfway through the year, than it was, 6 months ago when I was working on appropriations. So when you look at that, so at the bottom, I put some numbers down for comparison. So at budget time for 2026 budget, it looked as though our expenses exceeded our revenue by about 1.6 million. By appropriation time, it looked like it was estimated that expense would exceed the revenue by 1.4. And in reality, when I did this calculation, based on our past spending habits, like I remember you pointing out after year end, last year, I don't remember the number, I probably should, how much less we spent in 2025 than what we ever anticipated that we would. As a general rule, for figuring out the 2026 year-end balance, I take the appropriations that we set aside for 2026 and simply multiply that by about 85%. And that formula seems to work. So it's worked for several years. Last year I was shocked because I didn't necessarily do that. I did every line item by hand just to see what I'd come up with. And guess what I came up with? That we would spend about 85% of what we appropriated. So went back to the old tried and true method of, okay, we appropriated this amount, multiply that by about 85%. That's probably what we're gonna spend. That is that last number that you see. So based on spending about 85% of what we appropriate for 2026, our expenses may exceed our revenue by about 500,000, which is a huge difference from 1.6 during the original estimation, which is where we're at right now for 2027, down to probably, 500,000. That make sense?
And as we were talking earlier, stuff is costing more,
Yeah.
and the revenue and income tax, if people's income aren't going up at the rate of stuff costing, so
Very
eventually.
true. Yeah. Yeah.
So, Chief, we need you wanted a new cruiser?
Yes. To keep our normal rotation is every 2 years,
Okay,
and that's where we're
okay,
at. We kinda got mucked up with COVID, and I had
Okay.
a cruiser
yeah, you were waiting on,
crash out on me early, and we had to get one, so we got 2 back to back, but then after that,
okay.
I've gone every other year.
And then the planning and zoning code update, that's, what's that
So
entail?
then I put in there, our last zoning code update was 2004.
Right,
We're
yeah,
over 20 years
yeah,
old
we
now
could
on
discuss
that.
them.
And with the recommendations from the housing needs assessment, which I have a draft copy of now, I'll send
Okay.
that out. There's recommendations to adopt into the zoning code. I thought it might be a good time to start that
Okay,
zoning code update, just to modernize. This, you're on planning and zoning, you're aware
yeah, I know what we're dealing
what we're
with.
running into, a lot of things that are prevalent now that weren't a thing in 2004, tiny homes.
Well, and like I said, even on the national news, they talk about deregulation is what easing up for people to build and.
Yeah, and that's exactly what
And
the
that's,
housing.
they said
needs
it's all the way
assessment
down to little village, deregulating.
Yep.
Regulations are what's stopping the growth.
Is there, to talk about health insurance, right? Did you want to say something, Bob?
Yeah, how many years has it been since there was the RFP for health insurance?
That's a
And I
good-
have mentioned to Burgess as well as Hogress, they have a couple packages with Beat Healthcare.
Okay, okay,
So I'd like to see an RFP where we get quotes in from those people.
okay, okay, yeah. I'm so sorry that I'm late.
I think we said you don't have a wish list and the rest of us do.
That's true, that's true.
What is health insurance now, just out of curiosity? Per pay
Is
or monthly, however it goes?
that's-
So I know I pay
for
monthly, so I don't
family,
know, but-
I think this year it's around $2,300 for family coverage, around 15, don't quote me on this, but
Can
I
I
think it's
see
around
that, please?
$1,500 for single coverage.
Okay,
Um,
that's city's cost for it, not the employee cost.
Right,
Okay.
right, yeah, yeah. So I don't know for sure how an RFP works for that. I will definitely check into it and get all that information lined up. I do know that the alt care plan that we're on, is a grandfathered in plan. It's no longer available. And it's a good plan. And it was my understanding a couple of years, this is when Karen was still here, and I hope I don't say this wrong, but if you open up the bidding, then there is a chance that we're gonna lose that plan. So there's a risk to that, but obviously before proceeding, that is.
But it
something that
doesn't
I'll
hurt to
ask
check,
about.
I guess, you can still
Yeah.
fish, but you don't have to.
Yep, absolutely, yep.
So you grandfathered in, but what you're saying is if you do try to search, you might then lose your grandfather
Yeah.
plan, okay?
Yeah. That's what I've kind of been told in the past now.
How do they know you're searching?
Insurance, brokers have to actually open that up. So they actually have to, it's pretty involved. My understanding is, you were probably here when it happened last, I've never been through one of these. Actually, Pat would have been too. There, a whole bunch of them. Each employee has to fill out pretty in-depth questionnaires.
Form fire.
All of your personal private information goes out to a bazillion different, and that's an exaggeration. But it goes out to all these different brokers who then check all the different companies, and then they return their quotes to us. So that, opening up that, it used to be called Form Fire, I don't know what it's called now, I think it's a more modernized process. But opening that up is what lets them know Okay, so they're not, they're not sticking with All Care anymore, so this grandfathered plan is probably gonna go bye-bye. So there's a risk in that, but before we take that step and do that, I'll find out a lot more about those risks, and, we'll have to, together, weigh the risks and the benefits of doing that. And so much of budgeting and so much of looking at insurance renewals is just taking these as educated guesses as we can. So we'll, again, weigh the costs versus the benefits and see where we end up. So that's something that I can start to look into.
I mean, I'm assuming it's not apples to oranges, but, Jeff's Anthem Blue Cross premium went up $40 a month,
Yeah.
and he's pretty darn healthy for 70. But, I mean, I would assume they're evaluating what people claims if somebody in the
Yeah.
village could make it rise anyway.
Mhm. They look back at,
So they're
they
even
look at your
already.
health now, they look back at your claim history.
Yeah,
So
so that,
that's,
even with our existing, that can cause a rate up.
yeah, yeah, so.
And we have gone through all of those forms before, and it was an exorbitant increase that it was going to be to change. And so at that point in time, I remember we decided to stick with what we had at that time.
How
But
long ago was that? You know,
5 years maybe?
Wasn't it Obamacare stuff?
Yeah.
Because it was something, if we open it up, we lost, we had to go into
The market.
Yeah,
The
market,
the
yeah.
Obamacare
Yeah.
plans.
Well, and they told us, I think they told us in, what was it, 17 or 18, this is gonna be the last year of this plan. And I think it was like 5 years in a row, they were like, next year, everybody's gonna have to go into the online portal and get their own. And we told all the village employees every time that they told us that was going to happen.
Yeah.
So, but it hasn't happened yet, knock on wood.
Yeah.
I mean, what do the employees have, what kind of a deductible? And what kind of, I mean, I know from, obviously, the more you pay for a policy, the better. I was very fortunate. I will do a shout out to Bergen Insurance. I will do a shout out to Jeff Allison. When he sat down with my husband and I'm talking to other people and they're paying low premiums. He understood enough to know that pay as much as, because that way if there's catastrophic things that happen, that's gonna be covered way better
Yeah.
than if I'm paying a little bit more for Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield than if I would pay for prime time maybe.
Sure, but your coverage
But that means that, that means that something happens, I'm not losing my house.
Yeah.
So obviously you pay for what you get.
Right,
Yeah.
so we
It's
have
like
a,
car insurance, it's
right
like-
now, and again, this is from memory, you correct me, you with your boys probably use it all the time. But we have a $1,500 individual deductible, and then for a family, doesn't matter how many are on the plan, the maximum deductible that a family has to pay is $3,000. So basically, you're paying for 2 deductibles. And then after that, coverage is pretty darn near, besides office copays, those never go away.
Is there an
Um,
80/20 there anywhere to a certain point, 80/20?
No,
Does it cover
no,
after
it
It's
goes,
100%.
that's this plan, that's this
Oh,
is that
grandfather
what it
plan, that's
is?
the beauty of it. Because most plans now, that's exactly how they work, is my
There
understanding.
is something without a network and in networks.
If, yes, if you're in network, it's deductible then, covered,
Yeah.
except for office copays and things
Has
like that.
anybody complained
If you're
about
out
that?
of network, then yes, it's deductible, which is higher than 80/20
Okay.
coverage. So a lot more out of pocket if you don't go to your, in your network, so.
Your choice.
Yeah, yeah.
Has anybody complained about trying to find, a lot of doctors are out of their network using,
I don't.
Haven't had that
I haven't
problem.
heard of any, but that's not something I would.
So I was on an
typically hear
alt
about
care
either.
individual and nothing in Holmes County was covered anymore, but this is a group plan,
Oh.
so,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So
I had to switch
this
because
is
of my
kinda how it
individual
works with
plan.
alt
so-
care. This is
complain.
kind of how they explained it to me, real generally speaking. So with alt care, because
I'm
it's based
$700 a month.
out of Stark County.
Mhm.
So from Holmes County, you can go just about anywhere north. Cleveland, you can go to
Mhm.
all that stuff up there. Going south is what you have to worry about. So if you were a cancer patient, you went to the James Cancer Center
Oh, I
in
see.
Columbus. you're gonna be out of network. Although I think there are some steps that you can take to work on that too with Allcare. So that's kind of how, so I haven't heard of any major issues with employees. You know, most of us that live here, we doctor out of Canton or Akron or Cleveland, Worcester, all of the, I haven't heard of any places in those areas that aren't in network. They could exist, I just haven't heard. But again, employees don't typically come to me with those kind of things, especially Hummel has, you know, a number that our employees can call to ask any questions they want to, and they have Allcare experts there. So they're kind of the go-to people that we go to with questions like that, so.
Nate, do you think that the health care plan that we have is a big reason why we have the employees that we have? Do you think that that is a factor for them, or no?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a factor. I think it depends where you're at in the system too. What we've run into, you'd probably attest to this as well. Me and Pat, we view it with, you know, our age, our families, it's important to us for sure. You get a young single guy, it doesn't mean as much to him, but I think that would be true of any insurance plan.
Yeah.
That's what we've talked about, and I'm sure same on your end, Matt.
And I know ours is better than what the county has.
Yeah, I knew that.
Oh, by far.
Yeah, that's,
By far.
yeah, I knew that.
Yeah, it's certainly a very nice appreciated benefit.
So if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Well, I don't agree with that necessarily.
I don't think there's any, I guess I'd wanna know from Mike or somebody, if we look,
Yeah.
is there harm there?
Does that
Is there
lock
a
us
risk?
out? Yeah.
Can we look
Yeah.
without
Which
taking the chance of losing?
logic tells me you ought to be able to do
Yeah,
that,
that's
but
what
I
I-
don't know. I'm
Well,
just somebody-
obviously, they're
I
gonna,
mean-
Allcars want us to stay.
Yeah, they're
So,
gonna-
okay.
Yeah.
You know, I, when you go down and try to switch your Verizon wireless or they're trying to battle with you
Yeah.
to keep you to stick with their,
Sure.
so isn't it great to see, well, if you lose this, man, you'll never have well, they have a game in the, there's a reason they're gonna tell you
Yeah.
that.
And this is a hard thing to look at because we don't get our actual rates, you know, our renewal rates from Allcare until appropriations are done. I mean,
See,
they're
that's-
pretty much done.
Why couldn't they give you that
So-
earlier?
I just don't.
So-
They won't. They don't know
Well,
the
they
insurance
should do
companies.
Well, that's
For a
convenient.
January 1st renewal date, you're not gonna get an insurance company to look at you any quicker than probably mid to late October.
Well, and they know,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
know,
Yeah,
they know.
They
that
don't
they're
wanna
gonna-
leave you with a lot.
They don't wanna lose you.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So, but yes, if we can shop around without locking ourselves out of our grandfathered plan that is good, and if you look at our, we always prepare for the worst, like in these numbers, I have prepared for a 15% increase. We haven't had one. Like, but I'm prepared for it every year because it could happen. It's happening everywhere. 15% last year, I was sure was gonna happen because places around us, other municipalities, townships, we're seeing increases of 20%, 23%. So I was sure last year was gonna be the year we got slammed and we didn't. So, we've been real lucky in that way, but we just won't know until it's too late to start bidding it out, to start really looking around. So, yeah, there's some homework I'll do with that and get some ideas of how all that works.
Would a local, just throw it out there, like say a Hobron's, would they know that? Or is that something the town itself has to look into, like if you shop around? Would the,
Our broker is gonna know, Hummel's
The
gonna know.
broker.
Yeah, the broker's.
Yeah.
gonna know.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And the other thing to consider is because we have our health insurance, medical insurance through Allcare, our dental insurance is so inexpensive compared to most other dental plans that are out there. And I don't know that it's called like a what do they call it with your car insurance in your house? Like a
Multi-discount.
policy discount. But that's how I look at it. Like, I know we're getting a pretty good pretty darn good deal on our dental insurance because it too is through Alt Care and, in those two things. So that keeps our dental costs down. So
And I
we,
didn't want
you
Vision
know,
too?
that's something else to think about.
Vision two in that?
What's that?
Is there vision two?
No,
Okay.
our only vision that's offered to employees is a cafeteria plan, which
Okay.
means employees pay that
Okay.
premium completely. Any other line items you guys want to talk about or have questions about? Thanks, Andrea, for going over the ones that you had questions about. That's
I
why
spent
we're
some
here.
time with it,
Yeah.
got
good.
some food on it, and Kelly, I brought up while you were gone, concern about us then, the Veterans Memorial and maintaining that, and we made a suggestion to maybe put some feelers out there to see if the community's willing to, help maintain up there, and if we, you know, I'm trying to save our tax dollars best, little ways I can, but in the end, if people aren't willing to help maintain it up there, then I guess it ends up that becomes a part of the package, but.
I hope that we can do that. My husband is a veteran, and so I will have him discuss that with the American Legion and see if that's something that they might be interested in
What
helping
about
with.
the women at the Eagles, or?
The Eagles,
I
that's a
mean,
good
I'm willing,
idea.
I'm
Yeah.
willing to sign up to,
Yeah.
like I said, I'm willing to lead, or,
Yeah,
You do mind, if we could get like organizations like that,
yeah.
we could say, okay, June's your month and July's your
Right.
month.
Right.
And
then it's not a big strain on one organization
Yeah.
if we can do that.
that's easy scheduling too, for
and it's
whoever.
really how many months? April, May,
May,
June, July, October,
I think they
6
typically
months?
start
Yeah,
maybe
April.
April for the spring
April,
cleanup.
October.
October, so
Oh,
6
yeah.
months.
Well, your big cleanups typically in April, March or
Yeah.
April, where you
Yeah.
go in and
Yep.
get everything cleaned up from leaves and all that.
Yeah.
I don't, the stuff that's up there, there's not like trees that.
Yeah, there's no
maintain-
tree, I didn't notice trees, or there's that many.
The only thing I could think, like, if there is like mulching and that, and they would be willing to take over and do things, I'm sure we could work with them of, like, delivering the mulch there and have it there for them, things like that.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, that's good.
you know, we would work, my opinion, we would work with them the best we could,
Yeah.
especially if they're willing to take it over.
Like
Do
we
a good
supply the
job.
materials and then we just need the labor, just need.
Mhm.
Is there
people
much
come in.
more in there?
No, not really, but I'm not sure exactly whether they push mow it.
Yeah, some of
I
it.
think they do, like in between and around in the center, which.
So
that
we would
be-
need a mower to provide to somebody,
Yeah,
which we would get a push mower, I
we
mean,
can get it.
Yeah,
where's,
I'm
I
sure we
mean,
would,
Get one.
yeah, I'm sure if it,
21 inch.
is it,
Without putting turf in that. I mean,
Maybe that'd be something.
we could see if maybe the Legion or the Eagles would be interested in putting turf like we have at the amphitheater there, and then it wouldn't need mowed. One of those, groups would be willing
then we
to,
have to mow it,
then we wouldn't have to mow it, and that would help with the maintaining.
yeah.
It would make it a lot easier.
Since
Yeah.
I have spring cleanup and
Yep.
some maintenance
Yeah.
every couple of weeks.
Yeah, that wouldn't
Not
that
much.
wouldn't make it
Yeah.
too bad at all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Bobby, what'd you say we lost or we're losing with the school?
Oh, so I estimated, based on previous numbers that I looked at, with the school, leaving income tax wise, probably 50 to 60,000 in revenue, with the elementary going out. And then I also had Mary, help me just pull some usage, water sewer usage reports out for them, to see kind of what our revenue is. It's one school, so, and it's, not all year long, so it was pretty insignificant as far as the amount of water sewer revenue we'll lose from them. I don't have those numbers in front of me. Why am I thinking like 3 to 6,000 maybe? Does that sound at all right? Okay. So in the scheme of this budget, that wasn't enough to worry too much about, but that's in these numbers, also.
Tree City. So they want 10,000 more. What's the breakdown of how the money gets the 10,000? Why they want 10,000 more?
Why do they want 10,000 more? To up their tree maintenance budget. So I think that it was discussed at council. Didn't we talk about that?
They were supposed to give you something. You said you wanted something or
I
just
just
the
got
amount.
something saying that
Okay.
to increase their,
Okay.
their services and with the trees, with the pruning, with the removal, with the planting, and all the normal things that Tree City does. Their budget of 10,000 just isn't, they didn't think. Now, I will say that when Chad sent me, the email, or maybe it was you, it said 5 to 10,000 more. So again, at this time of the year, when we're budgeting, I always overestimate expenses and underestimate revenue, just to be safe. So if absolutely necessary, we don't have to increase it by 10. We could increase it by 5. Or
Was
not
it
increase
because
it at all.
cost of trees cost more or just the?
We just haven't been, it's kind of like, tell me if I'm wrong. I don't want to say this wrong.
It's been,
But when the budget is so low, the maintenance just isn't being done like it
Okay.
should be. And so then it piles up, and then, we have what we have.
They get
So-
somebody that hacks all the downtown trees.
Yeah, like that. I'm glad you said it. I didn't want to say it.
I'll just say it, that's what happens. And I did talk to Arlie about that because he had concerns and wanted the budget upped. He said that, Kim Kellogg had done a whole bunch of stuff pro bono and he was no longer on the Tree City. And so now they were gonna have to try and include that into the budget of the things that he had done as well. And I know that Arlie has donated to Tree City multiple times and thousands of dollars. And so, I don't know if that will continue as well. I don't know those answers either.
So would that be strictly for maintenance, or they use that to plant more?
Well, who's paying when the sidewalks get done? Where does that money come for those trees? Or they don't cost that much?
yeah, that'd be part of our sidewalk.
Part of the
part of the
sidewalk
Part of our
budget.
contribution to the sidewalk.
Okay,
project.
gotcha.
Because with
So
our
we
grants,
put-
we have to.
We
do a
have
certain percentage.
tree maintenance built into numerous line items within the budget. It's not unusual to have X amount for the cemetery, for the parks, just in general, transportation, and then also Tree City. My thought on it is, I don't care where you put it, just give us money somewhere to be able to respond when a tree needs.
So it could, if it's something, it can come out of the Tree City thing, if it has to do with getting rid of a tree
Yeah, if there's a limb
down.
or a tree
I
is
see.
diseased or whatever, we just need the money somewhere to be able to deal
Okay,
with those
well, that
things.
makes sense.
I personally don't care where it's at, just
Okay.
so it's
So
somewhere.
it's there.
Yeah.
Was there still a bunch of big trees in the green strip that are bad or not?
Yeah, I mean, not.
Or
not
getting
as
there, I
many.
guess.
Yeah, but, we were looking today with Willis, it was, you start looking, get up into some of these trees that you drive by every day and start looking, there's, what you think is 2 or 3 trees is actually 8 trees, and they're huge. And they're all tangled together, and that's a big job to clean it out. That bank at the park, all 3 of us were like, man, there's a lot more trees here than you think from the road. Just walk up through there and it just keeps more and more. And they're big. It's not an easy, quick drop. So there's a lot of expense in these things.
I know, I had a bunch of phone calls last year where people were trying to pull out. One was at No Name Street where you couldn't see because of that tree, and, that's something else that, you know, has to be taken care of when people can't see and they're trying to pull out. We don't wanna have accidents happen because the trees need trimmed too, so that's something as well.
So yeah, pruning, maintenance, removal, planting. If council wants to give Tree City more money, you could always give them a breakdown of what you'd like to see them spend, see that money spent on.
I'd like to make sure maintenance
X
maintenance
amount should
as
be
much
maintenance.
before planting.
Right,
The ones we have need maintained before we start planting,
right.
so.
I agree 100%.
Mhm.
Just like the one at the park that the limb fell from the north side onto the park. He said, yeah, I can take that limb off for you, but the rest of the tree needs to go too. You take that weight off and it's already leaning northeast. It's gonna go sooner than later. There's houses there, so.
Yep.
That's not just a limb removal, that's a tree removal now. Things you run into.
So Nate, does anybody else have anything before I ask Nate a question? So down here, you'll see that, so when Nate Skolmich sends his list to me, as I take things off of there to try to keep the expenses even or as close to revenue in the sewer and water R&I accounts, I try to take those off in the order that he gives these to me in order of priority. So you'll see down in the sewer that his, the second item down, was a $40,000 item. And so I removed it, at least for right now. Because he explained these other things to me, and they're smaller amounts comparatively, but they're things that are gonna sit and pile up if we don't get to them. So I think just so that you know, I removed that, but that does not necessarily mean that, because I feel like a decent goal for those, for the water and sewer R&I accounts is we have some control over that. So whatever the revenue is, try not to exceed the expenditures on that at all. That's just what I'm trying to do, at least for those two accounts, because water and sewer, those expenses are exceeding the revenue for those, according to this budget. So I think I just wanted to say that, so that if you say, no, that is a critical, I don't know what's critical and what's not, Nate's off now, and so, if you say, no, that is an absolute critical thing that has to happen next year, well then, this is not the end all be all, is what I'm trying to get at, so.
Well, it's no secret, or shouldn't be a secret, that we've turned these lists in. Tomorrow something may happen and this list means nothing.
Yeah.
We scrap what we were planning and fix that.
Yeah.
That's why appropriation time is when
Right.
it's more important than
Yeah.
this time, because even though we appropriated money, this is June, next week.
Yep.
Oh, we're not gonna buy that, we're gonna buy this, so.
But even if we do finalize that though, and if say that pump would go bad, we'd still have the funds to, okay, hey, we gotta fix this because we're down a
Yeah.
ditch or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's
It
just not into the
becomes-
budget, but it's more of an emergency case to
Right.
get it up and running.
Yep, that could happen.
You'll do
It
something
happened
else
with
you're
the
gonna do.
generator this year, right? Like,
Generator.
to a degree, I mean, we had
Well,
a
that's a little, we
that
have
was
the
a little different.
opportunity
That's
to
true, we had a
apply
grant.
for a grant.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you got the
To
grant.
do it.
But the
Yeah.
vac truck, we said no
Vac
to the
truck.
vac truck and then had to have it because our other one died, so
Well,
it's happened.
Yeah, either that or spend boatloads of money on repairs to
Yeah.
a 20-year-old vac truck.
Right, right.
Yep.
The other question then, So the $5,000 for the live music licensing, can you
Mhm.
explain that, anybody?
Yeah, so we own an amphitheater, and with that
We own,
amphitheater.
like, they will build it and they will come. And then we will be responsible for it after.
Right.
Exactly, that's exactly what he,
Yes.
so that's wonderful, and now where we come in.
Yes.
So explain
Yeah,
that.
so recent events. We got an email from Heidi Barbie, who's kind of heading up the summer concert series, asking about, saying she was contacted by someone
That
who
was
was
me.
asking about the licensing, and I had no clue what that meant. I had no idea that was a thing. I'll be not gonna lie. So I started looking into it. There are 4 organizations that provide music copyright licensing to protect us. We have to have that licensing to protect us from being sued for copyright infringement. So Bobby's been hard at work to get those licenses in place. And as of today, all 4 licenses are in place, and I got my tally for 2026, which I think is, it should be a recurring amount each year, about the same. I don't know how often they raise these. It's actually less than the 5. This is before I have my numbers for today. It's $2,400 is what we'll be paying here within the next week. That'll get us.
But
to
that
next
covers the
year's.
whole town, right? Everything?
Yes,
All
so the
the
other thing that I
property
looked
we own.
into is, I initially, when I contacted these people, my question was about the amphitheater. And then as an afterthought, because the 4th of July celebration had been planned and a band's coming and there'll be a stage, I had a mini panic attack thinking, oh my gosh, we should check into that too. Thankfully, the same licensing fees apply to any village-owned property. So Bob's celebration for the 4th is covered with those same licensing. So now that we have that in place, bring the bands in, use the place.
We gotta get people down there to watch it too for that
Yeah.
price. Yeah.
Our rates for that should stay low too, as long as these continue to be free events, non-ticketed events.
Is that what it is?
No
The free
revenue.
events
They
are
have
they're
to be
cheaper?
free.
Free,
The
okay.
more, they don't have to be,
Right.
but the more revenue that you bring in,
Sure.
then you will pay
That one
more
is.
for the licensing. So,
We're in control of that.
Yep.
It's our,
Yeah, it's our
facility.
property, right.
We just tell
so we
them.
just, anybody that has anything there, anybody that reserves that amphitheater or any other parking lot in town to, we just have to make sure it's a non-ticketed event and that the entertainment is never paid for by the village. So we're covered, we're good. No costs, no revenue, so.
I tried to see if, because the summer concert series was a shared sponsorship with Home Center for the Arts, and I tried to see if their licensing would cover that concert series, but because we own the amphitheater, we have to have our own licensing for that.
Well, there are contracts that can be written that puts
Yeah.
that burden
Right.
onto anybody using the amphitheater. But
Yeah.
That doesn't seem.
But that's not what, yeah.
There are quarterly reports that go with these licenses, so, each quarter, which will be easy in the winter, I don't think anybody's gonna be doing that in the winter, but, each quarter, we'll have to submit reports about the events, who plays, how many people come, all kinds of criteria. The
Okay.
criteria for each is different. I'm not sure what all is gonna be involved, but that's part of
My
this
goal is to
too.
try to get that amphitheater used a lot, that's. Get it
That would be
started.
ideal.
Yeah.
So if they sang their own original songs that they wrote,
That's exactly right. That's
We
the other
wouldn't
thing that I
have-
read.
we wouldn't.
We wouldn't
If-
have to
if
worry
we-
about it, that's
If we
exactly
were,
right.
if we required that everyone just sang only
Originals.
original music.
I
we'd
found
be
that
fine.
out because of a local business here that they don't have the license, so you have to sing original, and you can't.
Wow.
The odds of getting caught aren't great, but when you do get caught, it's a big fine.
Well, in that particular, when Johnny played, I mean, somebody shared it on Snapchat, so then it ended up getting shared.
yeah.
People were seeing it. And I'm just gonna say this, what a racket. You can't sing somebody else's song.
And everybody has a
What a
camera.
racket.
Everybody has a camera.
What a racket. So, thank you, you artists. What a racket.
I was thinking the same
What
thing.
a racket.
And then my bleeding heart got to thinking, like, okay, so these singer-songwriters, they are artists. That is their craft. That is their art. They pour their heart into their music, and I don't know if I made something. I don't know if I'd want everybody coming and just taking a pick at it. I'm just kidding. I think it's a rocket ship.
It's a racket. Yeah, I wasn't gonna agree. It's a racket.
So basically, since I'm new, so the last couple of years, if I remember, and who was the lady before her? When you did the
Karen.
appropriations, it seems like every year you were always under, right? I mean, most years, and you may not always be, you know, like you're guessing how much it's gonna be.
Explained.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So like from the time that we do like appropriations,
Yeah.
and this, so that's us saying what we're gonna spend.
yeah. Doesn't mean you're
But when it
spending it.
boils down to, we get actually to the end of that year,
Mhm.
that's that 85%.
Yeah,
We
that's-
almost always, we've been right in that
85%.
ballpark where we appropriate this amount.
That's-
Because we have to be ready. If something
Absolutely.
happens, we gotta have the money there
Sure.
ready to spend. But yeah, historically, 85% of what we
That's
appropriate.
gotcha. Okay.
And right now, that, it really, I hate saying it really doesn't matter right now, but Tom's right, like right now, who knows?
Yeah.
What really matters with this is this fall, in October and November, when you guys start looking through it, that's when it's gonna be a big deal.
Very true. And as in previous years, I may have said this at a council meeting, previous years, the county auditor, Holmes County auditor, has required a budget be, you know, formally given to them along with some other forms. They're no longer requiring that, and that's indefinite until they change that. That said, they'll still have me do certain reports at some point after July. They'll have me send them certain reports right from UAN, our system, that shows kind of where we're at, what we're spending, what we're yada yada, all that. So there's still oversight. It's just not as formal and time consuming. So. Anything
I
else?
guess that's it.
Port Washington, what are we doing with that? I mean, was that one of the most recent ones to be paved, or was it, I can't remember. But I know it probably got cold by the time it got there, but,
No, it's been, it'd be just next up on the list.
so we're starting back into that phase with this then.
Yeah. We're not in the full blown like we were, but
We need to be looking.
that one, Washington Street, are starting to show their wear quite a bit.
So the other will go from the square to Napa? Is that what, when same to Clay? Will that go clear to like the Napa Bridge?
No, right here,
Oh, okay, it'll be,
yeah, that's Clay.
My understanding is the state's coming through
Are they?
on South Washington, well, 62, right?
also it's North Clay, that's what you're, okay.
Oh, okay, well then
I
I'm
was
spoke out
thinking
of
it
line.
was projected like 27 or 28.
Yeah, it's
Was the
quite a
62.
ways out.
But I guess with that, Port Washington, isn't part of that in the township? Or not? Is that, how's that fall?
Very little bit of it.
Okay,
Yeah, there's just a short, I don't even know if it's a couple hundred feet.
okay. I didn't know how that fell, cause it zigzags down through there.
We paved it all last time, we just went through, 'cause it doesn't make sense to me to stop and pick
Yeah.
up again, not do a short little section.
And I would
And
think,
then they help us
Yeah.
out with mowing and other things, so that it comes out in the wash, I think.
I believe they paid to have that culvert
They did.
in the dip relined,
Yeah.
so if we work back and forth with them, I think we'll be fine.
So am I supposed to say that's it as the?
I had one thing that I wanted to add since we're talking about insurance. I've been on the phone most of the day with insurance, and one thing that I'm interested in council looking at for the future is coming up with a policy about events. That since this is the first year that we are sponsoring events, that's never happened before. I'm hoping that you guys can have a conversation in the coming council meetings about some timeframes, maybe 6 months out. We need to know if somebody's having a parade, what date it is, what's going on. 2 different people at the insurance. I talked to Lindsay, who had come out here last year. She talked about parades and bouncy houses with me. She said that she had asked Bobby if we sponsor parades, and the answer was no, because we had never done that, and bouncy houses, and we had never done that. She said there's an additional premium cost for both of those. And then I talked to Andy, also from PEP, and Andy said that they prefer to know months ahead of time how long the parade is, how many floats, different people in the parade, what the parade route is, so that they can do, if there's candy thrown, so they can do a proper risk assessment for the parade, so that they know that we have the correct amount of insurance. He said the same for the bouncy houses. He said they need the contracts for the bouncy houses. He said right now bouncy houses are about $750 for each bouncy house add-on because of the risk for both parades and bouncy houses. So he said if you guys were to make a decision, say you need information, if the Village of Millersburg is going to sponsor anything, you guys need all of the information 6 months ahead of time. That way, Bobby, Nate, myself, Matt, whoever can get all of this insurance and get all of this information to them, saying, hey, council's interested in sponsoring this event, and then that way they can give us a good risk assessment. They can tell us, okay, well, this is the amount of insurance that you're going to need, and then we will know that everything is covered, and you guys will know well ahead of time. So just an idea I'm throwing out there, that maybe you guys can add a policy to the council rules, that maybe if somebody wants us to be a co-sponsor or a sponsor or whatever for any kind of event, that you guys need all of the information 6 months out, so that, you know, just for all of our knowledge, so that you guys can make a sound decision as to, okay, this is a financially beneficial, you know, and not even financially beneficial. If you want to do it, then you're going to know, yep, we're covered, and we're not just covered, but we're covered well, and it's going to be fine. So I just wanted to get that information out there, just so you guys can think about it, and, you know, in the future make a decision.
I started this looking for something else, a different, so other cities and villages' websites are a plethora of information that you can see that some do things better than us and some do things not as good as us. And it's really interesting to see. So today I went on a search for different forms, and I got to looking, and I looked at several municipalities and cities and villages, and a lot of them have their contracts, their parade contracts, their pavilion contracts, everything right there and I'm sure it is because of their insurance risk assessments, risk assessment meetings. So like I saw one today, I forget which city it was, where yes, you can have parades, but you gotta do it, you gotta get the information to us ahead of time, this and that. Absolutely no thrown candy. That's a big one.
That is a big one.
That's a huge one.
That is huge. Any candy is,
How many people have gotten hurt with candy?
I mean, apparently a lot, Andrea. It's
Yeah.
bizarre.
yeah.
Well,
I-
I've seen kids run out into the
Yeah.
parade route. That's probably the main thing
Yeah.
they're worried about.
Yeah.
And suckers.
So-
He
and-
told me suckers today are a terrible thing to throw.
And some
Boy, I
some
grew
of
up,
them-
I must have grown up, I mean, my
I don't
God, my
know who
parents
made
would have
it.
got child endangering when I grew up, jeezy.
Yeah.
Well, we had lawn darts.
Well, I mean, you can
So
thank,
you're gonna watch the football
lawyers, you can
float
thank
either.
lawyers for
As
this,
hard as you can go.
and lawyers have really mucked up parades
Yeah.
and suckers.
But that was interesting to me, that I saw that a lot of the towns have these, these.
Huh?
I hope your husband's.
Well, yeah,
Well, and I think,
he says it himself. He knows his breed.
like,
Listen, You want him if you get Charlie Novi on there. This is the free
And
advertising.
like I was telling Bobby earlier, I didn't realize, like, I never thought about the Antique Festival is actually not sponsored by the town.
Right.
So technically, the Village of Millsboro doesn't sponsor anything.
No,
Really?
not until this year, we have not
Not,
sponsored
nothing.
it.
And I-
So-
And during our risk assessments, like when we've sat down, the two that I've sat through, I remember them saying, oh, good. Like,
Yeah.
as far as it's a risk assessment. So we have fewer risks, fewer chances of claims.
Sure.
And it's a conservative way to save money if you don't sponsor
Yeah.
anything,
But
because
I
then
don't
our
like-
risks
but I
are
don't
less.
like that.
But
No,
see,
I
Because other towns,
Yeah.
Mount Vernon, use the Mount Vernon radio station, they're sponsoring all kinds of stuff there. Worcester's sponsoring all kinds
Yeah.
of stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Those are two of the cities that I looked
So,
at
and
with
I
their
think that we
policies.
should be sponsoring stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, the
yeah.
people, I think people want things.
Uh-huh.
I don't want them to have to go to Worcester to the car show. I don't want
Right.
them to have to go to Mount Vernon to the First Fridays.
Yeah.
I want them to stay here.
Agreed.
So,
Yeah, I mean, that's
we
good.
got a wish list here. Well, here's Andrea's wish list. I'd like to have a parade. So if we have to have more money for that, then we vote on that.
Yeah, so before this meeting, Ryan was talking about that. I think that's a fantastic idea. I think, getting something together and having it planned out, and I remember saying it was March 9th, because I checked myself, because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't imagining that I said it. But when we started talking about the 4th of July celebration, I said, hey guys, whatever you guys decide, let me know what that is and keep me posted so I can check with insurance, because I gotta check on insurance. And that did not happen. And so we can't, that kind of thing, like, yes, let's plan it, but we have to do it in a way where council and administration talks, because we all have different roles.
I
It
mean, I
was
didn't.
fantastic
Yeah,
that
community.
the organizational part of it
Yeah.
happened
Right.
on that side, but this side plays a pivotal role, and I wouldn't be doing my job if I just let it be a free-for-all and didn't
Yeah.
check on insurance and.
Well, I
that's
didn't
my
know.
job.
I mean, I'm sitting on council. I didn't know. I wouldn't have known that we weren't covered for a parade. I think that,
I said that on March.
Yeah, but I would
mean,
have liked to have known that after a risk. This is something I've talked about feeling I'm not in the loop. You know, and this
Yes.
came up a year ago when we were talking about
Yeah.
Huntington versus Hummel versus, even if it's communicated in that way.
Mhm.
When the talk of a parade started, if we could just, I didn't know. I mean, it might have been said in April, but I don't know when that decision got made about that our insurance didn't cover parades. How long ago would that have been when you met with the
I'll
risk?
be honest, I never called Corey or Pep to ask if insurance were covered, or if our parades were covered. Because I needed to know for sure if it was gonna happen. And the first that I saw that, yes, a parade is gonna happen is when I borrowed Nate's sheet that was on here last week. I had no idea that the event that was being planned was gonna be village sponsored or had for sure a parade at a certain time or bouncy houses. That's the first that I'd seen that. None of that was,
And I
none
understand
of that was
So-
told
so
to
we're
me,
gonna
and I
in the
couldn't check
future-
insurance.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
so like moving forward, so, because I'd like to try to get a committee started even after July, August. So if we found out roughly how much and then brought something to the table, or even if we had to do a fundraiser, you just need to know some numbers.
Yeah, like some solid plans so that we
Yeah.
can get kind of
Sure.
all the insurance checked out, all the stuff,
Yeah.
right? Like,
I
cover all of our bases,
Sure.
and then, yeah.
If you
And-
had to form a committee for 4th of July for next year, you don't have to wait till January to do that.
No.
Because if it takes a year
It
ahead of
shouldn't.
time.
Yeah,
And
shouldn't
if
wait till
Bob
January.
wants to have his Christmas parade, does that need to be communicated now?
Well, and who's the sponsor? That's the question.
Who sponsors
true,
that?
The American Legion and the nursing homes.
Okay, so they cover.
So they would
cover
get the insurance for that.
They never have.
Then that's a liability for the village if they never have.
So can we sponsor
Because-
the Christmas parade?
If that's what
I
council
think
wants to
we're
do.
talking about policy and not budget and the meetings.
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
that's true.
But-
That's
think
My
we're
bad,
deviating
I'm
here.
sorry.
That's true.
But my thing is, so down
Yeah.
for appropriations, if we
Why
were to
put
get
this on
together
public?
and
Yeah.
throw some numbers, and
Yeah.
is it November
Holiday.
that we can do this?
Yeah, well, October, we'll start talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you're looking at the Memorial Day parade, the Halloween parade used to have. I bet there was never insurance.
it's just, it's a liability. Andy told me today, and so did Lindsay, if the entities sponsoring the parade don't have insurance and there's an accident, it's the village who gets sued and it's the village insurance who would be paying. And if the coverage doesn't cover it, it would come out of our budget. We are liable for any parade that we don't sponsor here in the village if they don't have insurance. So that's another thing that maybe we need to talk about, is making sure these entities have insurance before we approve parades.
The Antique Festival show us proof of
Yeah,
insurance?
they have insurance, yeah.
They
She
show
gets
us
$2
proof.
million,
There's a
yeah,
whole nother part to parades that we're not even addressing, and it's staffing.
staffing, yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that was the other, but, so I just wanna make sure, and I don't wanna wait. So
Right.
we have to at the next council meeting.
Yeah, we almost have to. If a
Okay.
committee is gonna be formed, we almost need to do that so that at appropriation time, if this committee is planning, if we're gonna sponsor events and there's gonna be costs involved with that,
Then it's
then
gonna need to
we
be,
have to plan for it by appropriations or it doesn't get spent. Does that make sense? Like
we won't have it to spend.
yeah, yeah.
There won't be any money.
So it is kind of part of the budget. You were afraid it wasn't what we're discussing as a part of the budget, so.
Well, we were talking about forming committees and stuff.
Oh, yeah,
Well,
yeah,
we
yeah.
circled back
Just-
around, but
yeah,
I did,
so-
I went
so-
off,
so,
yes.
Okay,
I
okay,
apologize.
yeah, yeah.
Is this part of the water and sewer, like what you set the rates at, that's not really part of the budget, is it, as far as, because I was gonna say, how are we compared to other towns, do you have any idea?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Because I mean, if there's a
I would
situation,
suspect we're on the low end.
because if there's a thing there where, you know, you have that, what was it, $40,000 we were talking about, that if we're on the low end, maybe down the road.
We do
Well-
an annual increase, right?
We do, but I think what Bobby and I have talked about when we looked at these numbers, I mean, obviously you can see it, the water and sewer, their 2027 estimated year-end cash isn't good.
No,
I think, I wanna look at, so we did a 10-year schedule back in, I think it was 2016 or 17. It's coming up to be redone, where every year one, water would increase, next year sewer would increase, and they were very small increases. And I think the intent's right, but it hasn't kept up with the cost of living, if that
Well,
makes
and part of
sense.
that, like we said,
If you look at,
when you did that, that was pre-COVID.
yeah,
Yeah.
And the whole aftermath of what happened after that.
Yeah.
There was no way of knowing that all that was gonna happen.
well, there was a prediction by somebody that said there was the Great Reset, so I think it happened, but.
I know I'm different, but I mean, when I get the water, I don't use a lot, but I don't think it's a bad deal, you know, I just wanna make sure with our numbers for expenses, is it going up the
I
same?
mean, I know, well, I don't know what the county just sewer is, but some years ago, when I lived in Holmesville, the monthly sewer bill was more than just a quarter of water and sewer here,
Yeah.
or very comparable.
Say Killbuck's the same way.
It-
Their monthly is like what our quarterly is.
Yeah, now, obviously, there's
Yeah.
some economy of scale with number of users and everything there. But I think we need to take a hard look at our rates and see if we don't need to adjust more aggressively on the next schedule we put in.
And the act,
Nobody, I don't like it, nobody.
well, I was
Well,
gonna
I
say,
don't
that
like
this
it. I don't
is
like
really,
it, but-
the extra that that they pay goes into the
Capital.
right.
So that down here, then
Yeah,
that is
yeah.
that water R&I. That's the money, that's the revenue.
But like our fixed costs and just the water and sewer just have climbed.
And I'm with you, I'm gonna say this, and I don't like it, but our electric rates have gotten, that's why I feel bad, because if
Oh,
we have
yeah.
to up our water rates, people are, what our electric rates have gone up to, our
Gas.
Northeast
Gas.
Ohio gas has gone up to. I mean, this
Groceries,
ain't,
everything.
this ain't right.
Yes. Unfortunately, we have to buy things too, and that
Yeah.
hasn't gotten any cheaper.
And those have to operate independently of anything else.
Yeah.
So they've got to be
Self-sufficient.
But if I think if you get the people that trust you to use your money wisely, then they're okay with increases from time to time.
if you're not being frivolous, and I think we're being.
And that's one thing about local government, people can
they can see.
You send your thing to Washington, we don't trust it, but it's here.
Yeah.
There's also some, on the good side of things, there's a lot of potential for some or redevelopment in town with some of the bigger properties that are coming up. You know, the school property redevelopment at some point, I'm assuming, should generate more revenue. The tiny home community, we have a public hearing on July 13th for, there's 18 homes that'll be added onto the system. So revenues will increase.
Yeah.
We can't predict
Yeah.
exactly when they're gonna hit.
I wish we could somehow get together with a builder and try to, over time,
Sure.
work our way into figuring out how to get more in your
If
town.
you find one willing to do it, we'll carve out all the time they want.
So two-part question. One, when was the sewer plant built? Is that
Originally?
2000, like,
Or
that last new modification,
Oh.
was that 2000 something?
2005, finalized in probably 2008.
What are we at capacity wise?
Capacity-wise, we're in good shape.
We're still, okay,
We're
so we still got room to grow to, that'll accept.
Yeah, we're probably a little over half capacity right now. Water, we're well on. We're in good shape capacity-wise. I would, don't quote me on this, but maybe 40%,
Okay,
maybe.
so there's still room to grow then?
Yeah.
Residential doesn't cost much.
Yeah, residential capacity isn't a big deal. Now, if we had there's no data center.
I knew where you were gonna
Thank God,
I'm
thank God.
torn. You know, I'm torn.
No,
I don't know,
was
I'm
just
torn
gonna say
about
some
the
big
days.
manufacturing facility
Yeah.
coming in.
Whole lot of
that-
water.
That uses 100,000 gallons a day. We'd wanna look at that a little harder. For sure.
So I guess is there money going back into the sewer plant to like the next
Oh, yeah.
progressive
Yeah,
stage, I guess,
There's been a lot of.
for rebuild or expansion?
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of replacements, repairs. I mean, at some point here in the next, if I had a crystal ball, I would say 5 to 10 years, you're gonna be looking at more major things that more the items that we can't do in-house. We're gonna have to hire out to replace that component or rehab the structure kind of thing.
And what are the costs of some of those? That's really looking ahead.
That's where you get into the hundreds of thousands of
See,
dollars. Yeah.
And that's
That,
where,
well, those are gonna have to be grant projects.
Yeah, those
Oh,
are gonna have
grant,
to be.
okay.
That's not things
Okay.
you can just bite off.
grant.
So we're doing pump motor replacements now, things like that. We can do those in-house, rebuilding the UV system, things like that. But if we gotta take a clarifier down and rebuild it, we weren't doing that work. We weren't equipped to do that work.
Which I learned something new every day. But when I was talking to Nate Skolmich before he went off work, and we were talking about this a little bit, he told me too that if our rates aren't keeping up, you tell me if this is right, I'm sure it is, I trust you guys. But if our rates aren't keeping up and our rates are too low compared to where they should be, we will not be able to get grants.
Yeah. it makes
Yeah.
it
So your rates have to be where they should be
Wait.
in order to qualify for the grant money, which if you think about it,
Yeah.
it makes sense. But, yeah, I didn't really,
Well, they wanna know there's ability to
yeah,
sustain your.
So, with that in mind, people will accept little rate hikes
Absolutely,
better than a huge one.
yeah,
Oh,
and that's
sure.
why we did the way we did.
Because-
You don't wanna ignore it for 10 years and then come back and do a 75%.
They're gonna be
increase.
mad.
mhm.
You wanna do small increments.
They aren't gonna trust it. They're not gonna trust that happening.
Right,
But I think they'll be more mad if our rates stay low and then we have to get a loan like we did before,
Yeah.
and then they have that additional, money added on to their water bill. That would make me more mad than my rates going up by
Yeah.
a couple dollars,
So
that,
you're causing yourself that money,
yeah,
not
yeah.
the village.
So it's better for us to have the rates go up so that we can get the grants rather than having to get a loan that we have to repay.
I agree. Cause you're paying interest and,
Yep.
Those are the tax dollars.
Mhm.
Then your rates are gonna go up anyhow.
Yeah, rates are gonna go up
Yeah.
anyway.
Right. Higher,
Yeah.
quicker. Mhm.
Suddenly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
all of it.
And then,
Yeah.
yeah, that would be bad.
Just one more question. So Chief Shaner, so are you're fully staffed or do you have room for more? Okay, I didn't think you were. So like if you were to hire another officer, that's already figured in? It's already figured in, okay. That's what I was wondering. So you got room for 2 more, 3 more? One more?
I think 2 or 3. If I can find them and you guys let me have them. One would
One
make
more.
us full staff.
We budgeted, so in here,
Or
I'm
2
sorry.
halves.
So I put in here, I think in the budget, I think I went the cadet route. We put in the budget for, academy. And so I think that I figured, let me think if I did that. I don't remember, but I think in my, my wages and salary portion of figuring this in, I think I also figured more on the cadet end of things rather than a certified officer. But I also, who knows, by the time.
Did they ever change the age back to 218 that they were talking about?
I think it's there, but I'm not sure if I can remember.
It's 18 now.
Because I know it's still, a lot of places are still doing 21, from what I've seen.
The only one, if you're, the city you can't hire because your civil service has to be 21. But county, sheriff's offices and villages townships can hire it, well, unless their, civil service can hire at 18.
Well, eventually I also have to look, because I see the ads for police all around our area. We're gonna eventually, look into that too, of, keeping up with neighboring towns.
That'll be another fall discussion.
That's all.
Mm-hmm. We'll be talking about raises and that kind of thing.
That's okay. Alrighty. So do I say adjourn if nobody else has?
Sure, say it.
Anybody that can stick around?
Tommy said 25 minutes, it's 1:25.
Well, thanks,
I'll-
everybody.
we need a
I'm
motion.
always in my office.
I'll make a
Live.
motion to,
Holler
We-
if
she
you,
never
we
did.
need a motion?
You didn't,
we're an official committee.
Oh,
did you do
I
a
don't
roll
know.
call?
So did you make a motion?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
all in favor, I don't think we should.
Aye.